discussing about the present status and future strategies for the production of medicinal and aromatic plant. And these two plants I have shown in the slide. This is first is rose, of course. You have seen many roses, but this is medicinal rose, Rosa damascena. We generally call it Fasle gulab, which is mainly used for the medicinal purpose for extracting essential oil. Rose oil or gulkand is made from this. And another plant is Metricaria chamomilla. This is known as German chamomile, which is highly demanded in aromatherapy and having blue colored essential oil, highly demanded in high grade perfumes. So these are the two slides, and now I will start my presentation. So about herbal drugs, what is the word scenario? Now, why global resurgence is in the use of green medicine? Green medicine means herbal plants. So why again we are looking forward for the green medicines? Because these are comparatively more safe, comparatively cheaper, more eco-friendly, only cures where modern medicines are either unavailable or unsatisfactory. They have preventive, promotive, and curative, only source of healthcare for 80% population in the developing world. Besides health benefit, medicinal and aromatic plants provide crucial livelihood options for millions of rural people, particularly women, tribals, and the poorest of the poor. Forest helps humanity by different ways, both economically as well as ecologically. Ecologically, these contribute to the environment, the moderation of climate, conservation of soil, regulation of water supplies, control of drought and floods, improvement of landscape, and recreation. 400 million people living in and around forest in India depend on NTFPs. NTFP means non-timber forest products. And medicinal and aromatic plants are one of the non-timber forest products. Other than these, resin, gums, tannin, dyes, minerals, all these are non-timber forest products. And for their sustenance or livelihood, and often use forest products extensively for their own use as well as for the income generation. In India, 35 million work days of employment per year are contributed by the collection and processing of medicinal plant. Globally, the forests now cover 3,625 million hectares or 22.7% of the global land surface of the world. 95% of medicinal and aromatic plants are harvested and collected from the wild till date. And 25% of the modern medicine or allopathic medicine, they are also derived from these plants. About the international market, there is more than 7 billion US dollar market is there, and growth rate is 7 to 30%. Contribution of US in Western countries 75%, contribution China 3%, and contribution of India is only 0.3%. And expected international market by 2050 is 6 trillion US dollar. Indian scenario, number of codified formulation 14,000, number of folklore formulations 25,000, number of licensed pharmacies more than 20,000, number of traditional healers and Vaidya 10 lakh, registered practitioner of ISM and H means Indian System of Medicine and Homeopathy 7 lakh practitioners are there. Annual trade in herbal medicine more than rupees 8800 crores. Annual trade in Ayurveda rupees 55 crores. So there is a huge scope in this field. About aromatic plants, of course, we are generally speaking about the medicinal and aromatic plant. Of course, the aromatic plants having essential oil, which are volatile in nature, having sweet smell and aroma, and all the aromatic plants have medicinal value also. But due to the presence of essential oil, sometimes we call them as separately aromatic plants. And Indian consumption in aromatic plant 200 ton per annum. Indian production is only 67. So there is a wide gap between the production and consumption. Medicinal cosmetic preparations 12 ton per annum. Used for culinary purposes 188 ton per annum. Annual export annual export from derivative 600 to 700 million rupees. So this is the scope of aromatic plants. Utilization pattern of medicinal plants part in the Indian system of medicine and homeopathy. In Ayurveda, there are about 1587 plants which are used for making Ayurvedic preparation. In Siddha system of medicine, 1128 plants are used. In Unani system, 503. Suva, Rigpa or Pigden system medicine, 253 plants are used. In homeopathy, 468, whereas in Western medicines, 192. Number of plants used in Indian system of medicine, about 1800. And source of medicinal plant traded, plant-wise breakup of the traded species, plant like roots. In plants, there are 326 plants are there, where the roots are used for extracting active ingredient for medicinal purpose. Whereas 167 plants, where whole plant is used for medicinal purpose. Whereas in 161, only fruits are used, and 141 seeds are used for getting medicinal component. So flower, stem, bark, gums are used. Least number of, there is a big list for showing all these things. And if you see the roots, if we uprooted the roots, 326, and as I have already told you, there are 95% of these medicinal plant are extracted from the wild. So if we are, the roots are active part or economic part of the plant, so we are extracting 326 plants. That is why we are uprooting from the natural habitat, and there is no effort for propagation or cultivation. So they are entering in the list of endangered plant, because their conservation is important. Otherwise we are uprooting the roots, and this is the high time to think about the conservation and cultivation of all these plants. 3.5 center total medicinal plant according to conservation assessment and management plant. They can be organized in three categories. Plant of codified knowledge over 1800 used in organized system of medicine like Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha. Plants of empirical knowledge, 3000 used in ethnomedicines or folklore medicines based on oral or undocumented information being passed from generation to generation. Plants of scientific knowledge, about 700, which have been investigated pharmacologically and chemically and are used in modern system of medicine. According to an estimate, over three-fourths of the total world population can't afford the products of allopathic medicines, and they have to rely on the use of traditional medicines, which are largely derived from the plants. Difficulties. Of course, we are getting these plants from the nature, from the forest area, but there are many difficulties. One of the most important is in assessing and managing them arises due to their wide range of distribution. They range from natural to semi-natural habitats, from temperate to tropical, cold desert to dry desert, scrubland, meadows, agriculture crop field, and gardens. They are distributed, scattered distribution is there. The wild collection of this plant is unregulated and is done in unscientific and unsustainable manner, which leads to deterioration in quality. The difficulty in establishing the origin of material harvested and trade. Region of or over harvesting. There are two main regions. Extremely low prices for wild collected material leads to the collection of plants haphazardly. Second, the population growth has also widened the gap between the demand and the supply in our country. Now, the increasing demand by the local communities, by the pharmaceutical, perfumery, cosmetic, and many other industries or many Indian system of medicine, they depend on these plants, has increased the pressure on the land and the resources. Due to excessive exploitation, 8% of the world's floristic elements are threatened with extinction. And if this is applied to the estimated figure of 50,000 medicinal plants which are used as a medicine, it can be assumed that 4,160 species of these plants are threatened. Hence, to meet this ever increasing demand, cultivation is only the ray of hope in the dark. Many conservationists are also demanding that these threatened species should come on priority list for conservation and cultivation. Conservation strategies. One of the most important strategies need to replace wild harvesting with the cultivation. Wild varieties can be effectively conserved in their natural ecosystem. through wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, bioreserves. Cultivation will not only conserve wild resources and increase high quality material, but also provide an opportunity for rural agricultural development. Extensive farming of these plant species will preserve indigenous knowledge and tradition. Medicinal and aromatic plants are increasing used in treatment of various ailments and disease. Due to the over harvesting, they are now being posed with the threat of extinction. Need for coordinated fields. So, because of the increasing demand of these medicinal plants, the traditional knowledge system needs to be studied, documented, preserved, and used for the benefit of the mankind before it is lost forever. And this will need a coordinated efforts. Domestication and cultivation. To achieve conservation and for the maintenance of biodiversity, it becomes necessary to incorporate incentives for cultivation so that the species licensed for export will become a priority for cultivation. Advantages of this: the wholesalers and the pharmaceutical companies or the perfumery cosmetic companies, they can agree on the volumes and the prices over time and cultivators. Selection and development of genotypes with commercially desirable traits from wild or managed population may offer opportunities for the economic development of the medicinal plant species as a crop. Cultivation allows controlled post-harvest handling, and therefore quality can be assured and product standard can be adjusted suiting to the regulations and consumer preferences. Future of these plants. Economic potential of several medicinal plants, however, has not been exploited. For example, the extract of the roots of Arnibia euchroma, which is known as Ratan Jyot, widely used in the traditional Chinese medicine, even in Himachal and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, this is also present. Is reported to have potent anti-human immunodeficiency virus activity, which is not exploited fully in our country. Use of this plant is expected to increase globally for the use in both allopathic and herbal medicines. And only growing population is not responsible for rising trend, but due to rising popularity of environment friendly products. The demand of these plants have reached the sky in the global market, especially during COVID period. So this is the coordination, development of medicinal plant sector, inputs from institutional experts like scientists, government, NGOs. Scientists from different institute, universities, and organizations. The main there should be a need of integration. The scientists will be helpful in distribution, current propagation, breeding, storage optimization, biology, dose optimization, sustained harvest, linkages modern medicines. Whereas the role of government is to promote the traditional healthcare systems, funds for research to encourage entrepreneurship, processing facilities, marketing facilities, encourage traditional knowledge. Whereas the NGOs, they can demonstrate the technology, cultivation techniques, create awareness about the utility, and the people participation is one of the most important criteria for the development of this sector. The sustainable utilization and economic upliftment is the main aim of the integration of this system. So now I am switching over to what is the role of our university, that is role of Dr. Y.S. Parmar, University of Horticulture and Forestry in the development of medicinal and aromatic plant. So this is the view of our university, and in our university Department of Forest Products, that is looking after the conservation and cultivation aspect of medicinal plant. And in this department, we have three main components: teaching, research, and extension. Under teaching, generation of humanisms under UG and PG level, research on forest products and utilization. We have two different aspects like medicinal and aromatic plant, wood science and technology. In medicinal and aromatic, our main emphasis is on floristic studies, ethnobotany, conservation of medicinal and aromatic plants, genetic improvement, production technique, medicinal chemistry and value addition, process development. Whereas in wood science and technology, physiochemical properties of different woods, wood composites, strength properties, chemical properties, we are looking after the different aspects of different wood species for the utilization of secondary species. Other forest products like oleoregime and the tapping technology and extraction of katha, kutch, and gums and other non-timber forest products from the forest area. These are our main objectives. So in our department, we have very well established herbarium, and we have collected the plant specimens from the different parts of Himalayan regions, especially from Himachal Pradesh, from low hills up to the cold desert area, high hills, alpine zones, and in the herbarium, we have collected more than 8,432 herbarium sheets are there, and which belongs to 146 families from dicots and 117 families of monocots, 10 families gymnosperms, pteridophyte 9, thallophyta 9, and 183 families. And these plants are from at different growth stages, flowering stage, different stage. So number of specimens are 8,432. Where we have also very well established herbal garden in our university. Champladam, more than 300 species of medicinal and aromatic plant is being maintained and continuously in the herbal garden. Continuous efforts are made and work is in progress to on collection, conservation, multiplication of RET species. RET means rare, threatened, and endangered species of Himalayan region, and as well as the other species of medicinal importance. Nursery has been raised for about 100 plant species. The seeds of 70 plant species have been collected during this season. And we are also, many exotic plants have also been introduced through NBPGN in our university, especially aromatic. We have very good collection of aromatic plants, and they are all doing very well, and we have developed the cultivation package of those medicinal and aromatic plant from other countries. We have also very well established botanical garden, which is divided into different components: cacterium, pinetum, orchid, and cacterium. So different parts are there. So in this there is a time of COVID, so I can't invite you to our university. Whenever the COVID is over, all the students are invited for to conduct a visit in our university and visit this botanical garden, herbal garden, and our plantation area. Most welcome all the students and dear teachers. And now I'm switching over to the cultivation aspect of these plants. So we have developed about the cultivation practices of more than 40 species of very important medicinal and of commercial importance. Among them, Ocimum sanctum. Ocimum sanctum is tulsi, and we have more than 5-6 species of Ocimum in our herbal garden. And I'm discussing about here sanctum, which is known as tulsi, holy basil, or puja tulsi. And in puja tulsi, we have both Rama tulsi as well as Shama tulsi. So above one is the top one is this is Rama tulsi and this is Shama tulsi. And both are known as the holy basil. And this plant, during COVID period, there is a very high demand of tulsi, because nowadays we need the plants having immunity boosters. So among them, tulsi is at number one, immunity booster plant. And there was a high demand of these tulsi seed, tulsi plants, tulsi. And in tulsi, the panchang is used. Panchang is all the 5 parts of the plant, panchang: root, stems, leaves, flower, fruit, everything is used for medicinal purpose. And we, other than this holy basil, we have basilicum, Ocimum basilicum, that is known as bhabri, Ocimum americanum, Ocimum canimum, Ocimum tilimenskiricum, Kapoor tulsi, American tulsi, Kali tulsi, bhabri. All these tulsis are present in our herbal garden. You can see whenever you get time. So everyone knows where tulsi is used. Nowadays, it is highly demanded for making decoction or herbal teas. And the herbal teas, and the main chemical constituent in this plant is phenols, aldehyde, tannins, saponins, and fats. The essential oils are also present in all the 5 parts of the plant, and which are rich in eugenol, methyl ether, selenin, camphor, cineol, linalool, and carbachol. So the main uses, as you know, it is used in cough, bronchitis, fever, antipyretic, diaphoretic, stimulating, expectorant, antipyretic. And whereas the essential oil extracted from different parts is used for flavoring food products, condiments, confectionery goods, mouthwashes. So we have developed complete package of practices when to grow tulsi, what is the spacing, when to transplant it in the field, when to harvest, at what time it has maximum essential oil content or chemical constituent. We have standardized, we have also written the book on this, the cultivation in Hindi as well as in Hindi. Whosoever want the books on this plant, we can give you. And so complete package of practices. So the tulsi, this is the high time to raise tulsi, because the navaratri in our religious thinking, तुलसी की जो बीजाएं हैं वो कहते हैं कि नवरात्रों में तुलसी लगानी चाहिए. So this is the high time, scientifically it is proved. When we sow the tulsi, this is high time to sow. This is the best time of sowing the tulsi during Navaratras, and the best time of harvesting of this tulsi is during the other Navratra, during October-November month. So at that time it is harvested for as cultivation purpose, for commercial purpose. So when the this ocimum at full flowering stage, at that time it has maximum essential oil content. So this is the exact time of the harvesting of tulsi if you are raising it for the commercial purpose. So it has essential oil, flavoring food product, main product, and nowadays it is highly demanded for making decoctions and herbal teas. So as an if you want to become an entrepreneur, this is very good field, and we are also imparting training to the unemployed youth, Swayan Sahayata Samuhs, young women, HDOs, agriculture development officers, or Ayurvedic doctors, and those who are interested in this field. So, but during COVID, all these activities are little bit restricted. So whenever COVID is over, you can come here and you can take the training on these plants. Next, very important, very common plant, Cymbopogon flexuosus, which is known as lemongrass. Of course, this is a simple grass like other grasses, but leaves are very much flavoring, and the leaves have lemony smell. That is why it is known as lemongrass or nimbu ghas, gandh. And the leaves and shoots are used for medicinal purpose. The leaves have essential oil, which is having a smell like the lemon-like smell is there in the leaves of this plant. And essential oil show the presence of terpene, geraniol, citral, farnesyl, beta terpineol, and alpha. And this essential oil is mainly used in the manufacture of perfumes, for soaps, hair oils, scents, and medicine. It has also antibacterial properties. Iron is used for the preparation of vitamin A. It is highly demanded with tulsi for making herbal teas. You can even directly use this leaf for making tea, having lemony smell without using any lemon. So it is also very effective, very sweet smelling leaves. You can also raise this plant in your pots or in your nursery or in the in front of your house. Very, of course, very sweet smelling grass it is. And we have developed complete package of these practices of this plant, and you can use it for making your herbal teas. It grows in subtropical and tropical part of the country up to 1500-meter elevation. It is propagated through seed, vegetating wings, and rooted slips from April to May. There are 3 to 4 leaved 50 to 7 days old seedlings are planted during monsoon before June. These are transplanted in the main field at the spacing of 60 by 40 centimeter between plants and rows. And this is the fertilizer dose for getting more yield. And during first year, 3 cuttings are taken in 1 year, and in next year, 4 to 5 cuttings we can get. And herbage is 15 ton per hectare, and oil is 300 to 400 kilogram per hectare. And the rate of oil extracted from these leaves is essential oil 300 to 400 rupees per kg. Next is Vidania somnifera, Ashwagandha. This is highly demanded, as the name indicate, Ashwagandha. Ashwa means horse or ghoda, and the roots are economic part of this plant, and which have alkaloids such as vidanin, somniferin. Leaves contain vidanolide, glycosides, glucose, several free amino acids are present, which has medicinal value. And this is the roots of this plant, and then these active ingredients are used in insomnia. Insomnia means sleeplessness, weakness, inflammation, rheumatism, leukorrhea. It is valued as a potent tonic, delay aging, graying of hairs, provide physical as well as mental strength. So these are very simple plants, but very good with very good medicinal. This is also one of the immunity booster during COVID period. So if you are getting high value herbal teas for this COVID, tulsi, ashwagandha, lemongrass, giloy. These are very important plants, and you can raise all these plants in front of your house in pots. So this is about the Vidania. So whenever, of course, cultivation package is there, but if you are interested in cultivation, large scale cultivation, you can contact me anytime. I will give you the details, or you can go through the literature we have published here. And next is Tinospora codifolia, which is known as Giloy or Amrita. In Sanskrit, it is known as Amrita. As the name indicates, it is like the Amrit. And the stem of this plant is used. This is a climber, very beautiful climber with very beautiful fruits. And these stems are used, stem juice is used for making the different preparation. And it belongs to family Menispermaceae. Stem contains bitter substances like tinosporin. Other compounds like gilonin, gilosterol, gilenin, and furanone diterpenes, which are responsible for many diseases. Giloy is a tonic, diuretic, and it is a febrifuge used in malarial and other chronic fever. It is also used as a liver tonic. Plant is in general debility, loss of appetite, rheumatism, so many uses, even blood pressure, hypertension. If you take the decoction of the giloy, you can cut these stems into parts and directly used for making the decoction or काढ़ा. तुलसी, गिलोय और काली मिर्च का अगर काढ़ा आप रोज पीते हैं, then there is a immunity, and there is a resistance to various diseases in routine. So during COVID period, there is a high demand of giloy, ashwagandha, and tulsi. So these are very simple plants, and you can easily grow at Chandigarh and in front of your house. But this is a climber, so it needs sport. You can you can climb on the mango or any other sport is there. So it can grow a subtropical and tropical climate. And stem cuttings are directly sown in the field during March, April. So this is the high time to raise all these plants. The cuttings are obtained directly from the older stem. With notes, 2,500 cuttings are sufficient for 1 hectare of land. The well-repeated cuttings are transplanted in the field at the spacing of 3 meter by 3 meter, and this requires sport to grow. And F1 tandem with 75 kg of nitrogen in 2 separate. Half at the time of transplanting, half after 1 month of transplanting is sufficient for getting maximum yield. The stem is harvesting during autumn. Basal part is left for further regrowth. So 300 kg of dry and the 1500 kg of fresh woody stems we can get from 1 hectare of land. So nowadays the Giloy Kada is very famous. This is also very effective for any type of malaria or dengue or chikungunya or any type of viral malarial fever. This is very effective. Next plant is Endographis paniculata. This is known as Kalmeg in Sanskrit. This is a small plant up to 60 to 90 centimeter in height. All the parts are very bitter in taste, and thus it belongs to family Acanthaceae. Whole plant is good. Whole plant is very bitter, and if we take the kada of this plant, and the main bitter constituents are endographolite, flavonoids, sesquiterpenes are there in this plant. Bitter tonic is used in fever, worms, dysentery, liver, and digestive complaints. And because it is very bitter in taste, so it is used as a blood purifier. It is highly recommended for as a liver tonic, or digestive complaints, or fevers, or skin disease, or pimples, or other skin disease are there. If you take the decoction of this plant, this is very effective, and you can easily grow it in your herbal garden in pots in Chandigarh also. So time of sowing is before monsoon, June. Spacing 30 by 30 centimeter. This is the fertilizer that vary from place to place on the basis of the soil status. First harvesting after 90 to 120 days. Second harvesting of 60 days of first harvesting. And dry harvest is 2 to 2.5 ton. All these are the top quantitative medicinal plant of India. A highly demanded plant in Ayurveda. And very effective, and these can be easily, and you can get the planting material seeds of all these plants from our university. Next, very high, most popular plant nowadays is aloe vera, that is aloe, that is Grit Kumari Kuarpatar, which is the local name of this plant. These are the thick leaves of aloe vera. This is the plant we have grown here in our field. So the transparent gel present in the leaves, thick leaves of this plant is known as aloe vera gel. And this plant belongs to family Liliaceae. Leaves are used, and the leaves contain cathartic anthraglycosides, and its active principle are mostly glycoside, notably barbello, and other constituents present include allicin, aglycone, and free anthraquinones and regions are there in this gel, which is very effective. And the medicinal importance, fairly harvested gel has the property of relieving thermal and sunburn. This transparent gel is used for curing thermal and sunburn as well as wound healing. It has also moisturizing and emollient properties. Aloe extracts are also used as a flavoring ingredient in alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages and in candies to impart bitter taste. It is also extensively used as active ingredient in laxative preparations. It is highly recommended in constipation, which is the root of many diseases. So, in nowadays, the demand of this aloe vera is more in cosmetic industry as compared to the medicine. So for hair application, for face mask, uh, for many things, this nowadays it is highly demanded and heavily uprooted from the natural habitat. So there is a great need to cultivate these plants immediately, otherwise these are also in the list of endangered plant of India, and the demand is increasing day by day and can be cultivated throughout India in warm, humid or dry climate. And the spacing between the plant is 60 to 45 centimeters, 60 between the rows, 45 centimeters between the plants. And March to June is the best time of planting this. And about 15 to centimeter long root suckers or rhizomes cuttings are planted in such a way that two-third portion of the root sucker should be under the ground. And the fertilizer FOM 15 ton per hectare, NPK 150 to 35 is to kg per hectare is applied, and the plant are harvested after 8 months of planting, and the rhizome part left sprouts in spring for raising succeeding crop. And it is a commercial plant, and second year there will be more yield, and the leaf yield is about 10 to 12 ton per hectare fresh weight basis. So this is all about the aloe vera. Next, very important plant, Asparagus racemosus. This is a simple spiny plant. This is a climber. Of course, other species of asparagus are also there. Racemosus is a climber, and if the favorable conditions are there, it bears more than 100 roots. That is why it is known as Shatavar. Shatavar means Shat means 100 or Shatamuli. Then 100 muli means roots. 100 roots are there in one plant if favorable conditions are there. And this is also top rated among 20 top rated plant of India. Of course, it is only thorny plant. It is not liked by monkeys or the stray animals. So we can easily grow this plant in the wasteland. And here tuberous roots are used for medicinal purpose. Tuberous roots contain steroidal saponins, shatawarin 1 to 4, having proteins. Leaves contain diastenin, and it is used in nervous disorder, rheumatic complaint. It is also used as a tonic, diuretic, galactogogue. Galactogogue means increasing the breast milk, not in the human being but also in animals, and highly preferred by the milch animals. So it can also be cultivated in tropical to subtropical regions, propagated by seed, or these tubers are also used for propagating this plant. The seeds are sown during May, June, and the seed rate is 1.5 to 2 kilogram per hectare. Seedlings are transferred when they are about 8 to 10 centimeters. This is a perennial plant. So in the first year, the yield is less, but in the succeeding year, there will be more yield. The fresh root yield is 140 to 50 quintal per hectare, whereas the dry root 12 to 15 quintal. The demand is very high. The rate of this root is 80 to 100 rupees per kg. And next is Dioscorea deltoides, singly mealy, and this is the plant of Western Himalayan region where only roots are used for medicinal purpose. Family Dioscoriaceae, and the rhizome underground part contain the diasterin content. A steroidal sapogenin and other sapogenins such as zymogenin, botogenin, and cryptogenins are there in the rhizomes of this plant. It is used in the production of corticosteroid, steroidal drugs. 6 hormones, anti-fertility tablets. So this is the natural material which is used for anti-fertility making anti-fertility and highly demanded by the health and family welfare Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So the roots of this plant or underground part is heavily uprooted from the natural region. That is why it is in the list of endangered or red listed plant of India. So we have also developed the cultivation package of this plant in our university, and those who want, we can planting material and technical information, you can get it from us. And this is the plant from subtemperate to temperate climate, propagated either by seed, rhizome, or stem cuttings, and the roots are harvested after 3 years of planting. That is why there is less cultivation is not liked by farmers, because they can get the income after 3 years. But now the other species like Dioscorea floribunda, Dioscorea composita were introduced from Southern America, Central America in our country. That is harvested after 18 months of transplanting and having more dioxin content. So this is our local species, but the exotic collection, they are performing better than our local one in the tropical regions. The harvesting after the year planting during autumn season, harvesting the roots are cleaned, washed and dried, and 200 to 225 quintal per hectare is the yield of this plant. Next, Gloriosa superba Harihari. All these plants are very beautiful, as the name indicates. Gloriosa, glorious, superb, very beautiful flowers are there. And this is also a climate where underground parts as well as the seeds are used for medicinal purpose. And the roots of this plant contain colchicine content, and which is used for in by the plant in plant breeding for inducing mutations in the plants. And that colchicine is present in the tubers as well as in the seeds of this plant. So useful in treating this these tubers are used in treating gout, rheumatism, typhus, cholera, and skin disease. Highly bonded, heavily uprooted from the natural habitat. That is why this plant is also in the list of endangered plant of India. So, and there is a problem of seed setting in the plant due to the morphology of this plant. So we have also standardized the, we have also increased the seeds, number of seeds production in this plant, and increase the yield of the colchicine content by manipulating the agro techniques. So this is the plant of, this is also in high demand and in the list of endangered plant of India. And the yield is about 150 kilogram per hectare in first year, 200 to 300 kilogram in the second year. So this is known as Gloriosa superba Kalihari. This is one of the beautiful and ornamental plant also. Revolvia serpentina, Sarp Gandha. This is Sarp Gandha means Sarp means snake Gandha, and the roots of this plant is used for medicinal purpose, and the roots are having the shape of snake like shape is there. It is also known as Indian snake root, and it is naturally distributed where the more snakes are there, and this used by the snake healers to cure the snake biting in the villages. Otherwise, the roots contain racemimate, reserpinine, serpentinine, ajmelicin. So many chemical constituents like alkaloids are there in the roots of this plant, which is useful in snake bite, insect bite, nervous disorder, hypertension, insomnia, epilepsy. Epilepsy means मिर्गी के दौरे पड़ते हैं, especially hypertension. With the discovery of this reserpinine, which is mainly used for curing hypertension, depression. These roots are highly used. So these roots are also heavily uprooted from the naturally distributed area, and it is also in the list of endangered plant of India or red listed plant of India. So the cultivation also package is also with us. So it will take, in first year the yield is only 11, second year 22, third year with the age the yield is also increased, and we can also use the NPK or FEM for increasing the yield. So these are all highly demanded plants. These roots are highly demanded for curing hypertension, sleeplessness, and epilepsy nervous disorders. Next, Abelmoschus moschatus. This is known as Kasturi Mindi. This plant is looking like a lady finger, and but the fruit is little bit broader and thicker as compared to ladyfinger. Here, the seeds are used for extracting essential oils, which is very sweet smelling. The seed coat of this seed that have the essential oil, and volatile oil contain farnesol ambrotolide. This is known as kasturi. The smell is like kasturi, which is used which is used in Ayurveda, and the shape is like bhindi. So it is known as muskdana. Muskdana means the dana with having sweet smell. So Abelmoschus moschatus, muskdana. The oil extracted from the seeds of this plant is used in high grade perfumes, very expensive, flavoring and cosmetic. Even the stem with the leaves there are also used by the at the time of jaggery making by for making the good more lighter in color. And this is Abelmoschus moschatus kasturi bhindi, and the smell is like kasturi. Lavandula officinale, lavender. This is the plant, the exotic plant introduced from this Mediterranean region through NBPGR in our university, where the leaves and flowers are used for extracting essential oil. Lavender is very highly demanded essential oil plant, which is used as stimulant, carminative, antiseptic, insecticide, used in nervous hysteria, perfumery industry. Lavender is We are importing the oil of this plant from other countries, but the performance of this plant is very good in our country. We can grow this plant and we can reduce the import. And this is nowadays highly demanded in aromatherapy also. Next is mentha. Of course, this is Mentha spicata, which is known as the local pudina, which is used for making chutneys. But we have more than 6-7 species of mentha, like Mentha arvensis, which is known as Japanese mint, Mentha piperata peppermint, Mentha citrata bergamot mint, Mentha longifolia, different type, having the different shape, color, smell of the leaves. So pudina is very important medicinal plant, growing in each and every house in olden days, and the oil is extracted from the above ground part of this plant, very flavoring. Menthol content is there, menthol from the leaves. Menthol is carminative, expulsion of windiness in stomach, diuretic, stomachic, stimulant, antiseptic, useful in asthma, jaundice, liver disease, very flavoring. And this is essential oil. The rate varies from species to species, from 1200 to 4000 rupees from the on the bid, depending upon the quality and the species. So the time of sowing is from this is 4 to 6 quintal suckers are required for 1 hectare of land. Mid-February is the best time of raising this plant, and harvesting in June, August, and in October. 3 time harvesting can be done if you are raising these mentha for commercial purpose. So the fresh herb yield is 20 to 25 ton. Nowadays it is highly demanded natural plant for flavoring food products, for flavoring mouthwashes, or many candies, baked goods, and bakery products. So, Mucuna pruriens, conch, very beautiful glimmer, which is known as the conchfully. In Himachal, we call it jogli, which has velvet beans, and it has L-dopa content. And the seeds are used for medicinal purpose, and the seeds have the pods having the this hairy pods are there, which is stinging, but highly demanded for curing this diabetes, diarrhea, menstrual disorder, nervous tonic, for curing Parkinson, shivering of body part. It is highly demanded, more than 80 to 90 rupees per kg. It is nitrogen fixing plant. Hello? हाँ जी, अभी गर्मी थी. Gentiana Gadu, this is one more plant. Gadu, as the name indicates, it is a very bitter plant, and the leaves are very bitter in taste, like calmic. And bitter tonic, blood purifier, skin disease, bitter tonic, expectorant, astringent, stomachically, antihelmintic, carminative. And after any fever, malarial, viral, even COVID, if you take the decoction of this plant, it is very much healing. It controls the general. किसी भी बुखार के बाद कुछ भी वीकनेस आती है, भूख नहीं लगती, गर्मी लगती है, सो इसका काढ़ा पियो तो आपको ताकत से आएगी. ऑफ कोर्स इट इज़ वेरी बिटर इन टेस्ट, बट जो आपके पिंपल्स हैं, स्किन डिजीज हैं, फोड़े फिंसी है, उसको एकदम ठीक कर देता है. This is very small plant but heavily uprooted. It is also in the list of endangered plant of India. And if you want the cultivation package, you can contact me anytime. My phone number is 94184 82622, and my office phone number is 01792 252 This is my number, and my number is address is there with both Madam Jasmine Madam and Supriya Madam. You can take my number from them, and you can contact for any type of plant, for any type of information on medicinal plant from. This is Pelargonium graveolens scented geranium. We have seen this plant in the pots with the different type of the flowers, red flowers, white flowers, pink flowers, different colors are there, orange flowers, but with pinkish flowers. This is only medicinal geranium, or we call it rose scented geranium. This geranium, the leaves are very sweet scented, having essential oil, very rich essential oil, and having smell like rose. So the oil extracted from the leaves of this plant through steam distillation can easily blended with the rose oil, and that is used in the perfumery, cosmetic, and scenting of soaps, deodorants, even in cosmetic, in lipstick and other things. Very sweet smelling oil is there in the leaves of this plant, and we have also developed complete package of practices of this plant in our university. Picrorhiza, this is another kutki, and the roots are the economic part of the plant. This is endangered, heavily uprooted in the high temperate region, alpine region of the Western Himalaya. The rate of the roots of this plant 2,000 to 4,000 rupees per kg, and these are also very bitter, used in bitter tonic like Kalmeg or Gentiana, and blood purifier, liver tonic, kutkin is there, and stomachic laxative, etc. And now stevia, I have now discussed about the bitter plant, but there is one plant which is very sweet in taste. This is known as Stevia rebaudiana madhupatri. Madhu means meetha, patri means leaves. So this is the plant stevia. The leaves are very sweet in taste and sweeter than our sugar, 250 times more than a sugar. And this is calorie free, sugar free, and stevoside content and riboside content is there in the leaves of this plant, which you are getting the sugar free tablet. We can get it from the leaves of this plant. You can grow this plant in your this pots or in the nursery, and we have also developed complete package of, you can get this plant from our university. And how to grow, so that is, it will take one more lecture to explain the cultivation practices of different plants. So madhupatri, stevia, riboside and stevoside are the main constituent, and this is a perennial plant. You can grow and take the leaves for making your sugar free tea. So stevia, Suacia cirata, critically endangered plant of Western Himalayas. This is critically endangered, means likely to extinct in near future. We are not getting this plant in nature. We have received a packet of few seeds from Nepal through NBPGR. We have multiplied here. Only one plant was there, and from one plant we have multiplied it in large number. Now we are only the source in India who have Suacia cirata, true cirata, and it is one of the most important plant of Ayurveda, having olefic, 2 bitter chloxychiretin and marogensin, gianchopicrin, 2 yellow crystalline phenols and xanthones are there. It is a very bitter, bitterest, king of bitters, bitter tonic, antipyretic, antihelmintic, useful in urinary troubles, leukoderma. So many uses are there in asthma, bronchitis. So this is the plant of endangered list, and we have domesticated this plant and multiplied and developed the cultivation package. Valeriana jaise, this is a small herb naturally distributed from 1200 to 4000 in not only in the Western Himalaya but also in the Eastern Himalayas. The roots are active part which is used, having valipotate content and essential oil, which is used in carminative, laxative, antiperiodic, epilepsy, hysterical trouble, nervous disease. It has also essential oil which is used in perfumery industry and flavoring. So this is also likely to an endangered plant, but we have developed, multiplied it here. This is a common weed here in our roadside area of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Jammu Kashmir. The flowers yield essential oil, red color essential oil. Even the leaves also yield essential oil, which is used as a biopesticide. And if you grow this plant in combination with the maize, it has allelopathic effect, and it controls the nematode problem in tomatoes and other crops. So essential oil, the rate of essential oil is about 8,000 rupees per kg, and it is a weed. It can be easily grown here, and the oil is highly demanded as a natural biopesticide. This is Akarkara. This is naturally growing weed in our lower Himachal Pradesh. Up to 1500-meter elevation, we can grow this plant. These flowers are very, this is known as toothache plant. And the roots, leaves and flowers, or even the panchang of this plant is used. Very beautiful plant. And the leaves are chewed to relieve toothache and throat infection, while flowers are used, mouth freshener are also useful in treating inflammation of caries, dysentery. And this is also toothache plant. If you take the flower of this plant, it is used as a mouth freshener, and it is highly demanded by in the dant manjan, lal dant dabar lal dant manjan, or gobi dant manjan. If you add the panchang or powder of this plant in that, it is एकदम refreshing और टिंगलिंग सेंसेशन होती है, और बहुत अच्छा सा फील होता है, एंड टूथ पाउडर में काम आता है. Salvia secularia, this is an exotic aromatic plant. Here, these flowers are used for extracting essential oil, which is highly demanded in high-grade perfumes. And we can grow all this plant in our region. And this oil is perfumery industry, flavoring beverages, liquor, ice cream, candies, baked goods. So sweet smelling plant. And this is Salvia officinalis. This is also the plant from the Mediterranean region, and this is known as sage. Here the flowers are not used, only the leaves are yield essential oil, which is used for flavoring food product, not in perfumery but in the flavoring industry. And it has ethereal oil with 50% thuzone, cineol, camphor and borneol, and highly demanded in South Asian country for flavoring food product like meat, chicken and other products. And like we are using coriander in our dishes, they use the sage leaves or rosemary leaves for flavoring their food product. So rosemary is also there in our university. We have also oregano vulgare, which is highly demanded by the fast food industry, pizza industry. And we have also Thymus vulgaris, Thymus seraphyllum, different type of thymes are also here. We have also good collection of these things. So this is all about the different medicinal and aromatic plant. I have shown you the picture of few plants. If you want to see all these, most welcome to our university. And this is everything. So thank you. If you have any query, you can.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. It was a quite informative lecture. No words can describe the knowledge we all have gained today, ma'am.
Thank you.
No plant in nature is a waste, I think. Plants which we consider as weeds even, they also have got one or the other importance.
Yes.
During this particular COVID period, I think this knowledge about the plants is great. And especially the students of second year here who are there and who are preparing their virtual herbariums and working on the ethnobotany projects. I think it is an eye-opener to all of those students, ma'am.
Yes.
I think they must be having some or the other query.
If they have any query, they can contact me. Yes. I don't know why it is not visible. Yes. So students, if you have any query.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful lecture and sharing valuable information with us. Thanks a lot. Ma'am, there are some questions in chat box, and one by one, I'll share with you. So the first question from Janvi, that is there any kind of medicinal plant which can be easily available, which is a kind of anticoagulant, as recent studies shows that anticoagulants are more effective than remdesivir, and it is expensive as
Of course, I have already told you that we have more than 100 plants growing in our Halbert garden. You can visit after COVID, or if you are permissible, you can come here. You can see the plant, whatever plant you need, you want the information or any technical backup, we can give you these things.
Okay, ma'am. So, second question, ma'am, I want to ask
Yes.
that as you told us that there are 45 species of Osimum you are growing in your university.
45, 4 to 5, 4 to 5.
Yes, yes, ma'am, 4 to 5 species.
Yes, yes.
So just I want to know because it is, I think all knows that the medicinal values of tulsi, it is
Yes,
a cultural plant also. So
yes.
I just want to know, ma'am, ki in 4 to 5 species, we say which one is the best or more impactful species we can grow easily at our home, and in this COVID period we can fight
Okay.
also.
Okay. We have Osimum sanctum, both green and purple colored, that is known as Rama Tulsi and Shama Tulsi. Purple colored Osimum holy basil is known as Shama Tulsi. And green
Yes,
colored is known as Rama Tulsi. These are very, very effective. All the basils have their own importance. But this Osimum sanctum has its own value. Both Rama and Shama Tulsi, they are very rich in essential oil, having very good resistant properties, immunity booster. We have also basil, this Osimum basilicum, and that have also different type varieties are there, but they are also very good for some for other purposes. We have also this American Tulsi or Lavang Tulsi. This type different tulsis are, they have different application on the basis of the smell, but for
okay,
this for disease resistance, Osimum sanctum puja tulsi is the best one, both Rama and Shama tulsi.
okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, the
Yes.
next question is, what
Yes.
strategies are adopted for conservation of these medicinal plants?
What steps?
What strategies are adopted for conservation of these
Acha,
medicinal
what
plants?
strategies? What strategies? One of the most important strategies is to, whenever we go for identification, one of the most important criteria is sustainable harvesting. If we go for research purpose, we should keep something for the future generation. Only take a few part, or after collect these plants after seed formation, or don't uproot the whole root if the roots are used for medicinal purpose, and keep something. 40 to 50% part should be there, should be kept in the field, so that they will again regenerate. And if we are using the seeds for further multiplication, after seed formation we will harvest this plant, so that that should not be extinct from the nature. And next, very important, when we harvest this thing from the nature or collect from the nature, and in medicinal plant, WHO has given very good guidelines for good collection practices of medicinal plant, that is in WHO guidelines, good collection practices, good agronomic practices, good manufacturing practices, GCM, GCP, and GCA, good agriculture, GAP, and good manufacturing practices, GMP. These are practices, very good guidelines. If you open the guidelines of WHO, we will get point wise all the things are there. And I have also those things, if you want to share their things, good collection practices. So there are different points how to collect the plant from the nature, what are important criteria, and at the time of the good agricultural practices. So when we go for cultivation of this plant, identification is most important. If we cultivate it and at the last time, this is not the plant we want to cultivate, or this is not the plant, so identification is very important. So we have very well established herbarium. First we identify the things, then we go for the cultivation of this species. And then good there are small points for good agricultural practice here. So other good manufacturing in the lab, in the processing units, there should be the hygienic condition at each and every level, and there are many steps that should be taken into consideration. And there are very good points in GCP, GAP, and GMP. So if you want to discuss, that will take complete one lecture on GAP, GCP. So, but uh, each and every step should be taken into consideration while going for the research or other things. So thank you very much.
Okay, ma'am.
मैम
Ma'am,
आप अपना
one
नंबर
more.
दे सकते हो
हाँ
मैम?
हाँ, बोलो।
मैम आप अपना नंबर दे सकते हो?
हाँ, लिखो 94184 82622। जैसे ही ये कोविड खत्म होगा, तो मैं आपको इनवाइट करती हूँ कि हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में आज से पहले भी इवन जो हमारे MCM DAV कॉलेज और बहुत सारे कॉलेज, इवन फार्मास्यूटिकल कॉलेज, दूसरे कॉलेज हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में विजिट के लिए, पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी से स्टूडेंट्स हमारे यहाँ पे विजिट पे आते हैं, हर्बल गार्डन देखने आते हैं, बोटेनिकल गार्डन देखने आते हैं। तो आप भी जब थोड़ी सी सिचुएशन ठीक हो जाएगी, आप लोग सब हमारे हर्बेरियम में आके विजिट कीजिए, आपको एथनोबोटनी में बहुत काम आएगा। और आप जब ये सारे प्लांट्स लाइव देखेंगे, देन यू विल एंजॉय आफ्टर smelling them or tasting. Okay, so you are most welcome to our university. You can see the natural flora and all these plants. और अभी हमने थोड़ी सी इसमें ट्रेनिंग्स भी कराते हैं, वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम फॉर अंडर ग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम। मगर कोविड के कारण आजकल सब कुछ रुक गया है, सारी जो है हम अपने स्टूडेंट्स को भी हम यूनिवर्सिटी में अलाउ नहीं कर रहे हैं ड्यू टू कोविड। सो जब सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा तो आप कभी जरूर हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में आए और हमारा हर्बल गार्डन, हमारा हर्बेरियम, बोटेनिकल गार्डन विजिट करेंगे तो आपको बहुत कुछ देखने को मिलेगा। और कुछ
Ma'am, one more question is showing in chat box. Is efficiency of Niaz board the same as the normal tulsi?
एफिशिएंसी, एफिकेसी,
Efficiency
हाँ जी
of
हाँ
Niaz board the same as the normal tulsi?
हाँ, जो है अगर हम बिल्कुल नेचुरल और फ्रेश हर्ब्स को यूज करते हैं, इट हैज इक्वल मोर इफेक्टिव, दे आर मोर इफेक्टिव। बट जब हमने बहुत पुराना मटेरियल इकट्ठा किया है और एट द राइट टाइम पे नहीं किया है तो उसकी एफिकेसी पे फर्क पड़ जाता है। जैसे कि हमने जो हम जंगल से इकट्ठा किया, 2 साल तक पड़ा रहा उसमें, स्टोर में पड़ा रहा, फिर हम उसकी मेडिसिन बना रहे हैं तो उसकी एफिकेसी पे इफेक्ट पड़ता है। अगर हम कल्टीवेशन में जाते हैं और उसको फ्रेश हार्वेस्ट करते हैं और एक राइट टाइम में हार्वेस्ट more active ingredient, and if we are harvesting at the right time, तो इसमें इसकी एफिकेसी जो है, इसकी जो हार्वेस्टिंग पे बहुत ज्यादा मैटर करती है।
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am, thank you so much for
Thank
answer
you.
of all the questions.
Yes,
And
yes.
now I hand over the mic to Dr. Anuprabha ma'am for vote of thanks. Kindly, Anuprabha ma'am, continue.
Thank you, ma'am. On
Yes.
behalf of Department of Botany and my own behalf, I extend a vote of thanks to our webinar speaker, Dr. Meenu Sood, for enlightening us with their knowledge. Today's webinar was full of knowledge, ma'am, and it is very interesting. It gave a deep insight into the topic and also revealed some interesting facts about this medicinal and aromatic plants. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Meenu Sood for taking out time from their busy schedule and enlightening us with their knowledge. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Balraj Thapar, for giving permission to organize this webinar. I would also thank to our faculty and staff of Department of Botany to help organize this session. I also thankful to the technical staff of Automation Cell, Mr. Keshu, for technical handling. And finally, thank you all the participants present here for their paying attention and learning. Thank you, everyone.
So I'm also thankful to each and everyone, especially Earth Day and Earth Day during COVID days. Medicinal and aromatic plants are highly demanded, and all these plants are growing naturally. So very happy to interact with you all, and I also enjoyed with you. Thank you very much. Thank you. For any type of query, anytime, you can contact me anytime. Thank you very much.
मैम फॉर स्पेयरिंग योर टाइम मैम। आप इतने बिजी रहते हैं मैम, बीइंग हेड एंड द प्रोफेसर एंड मैनेजिंग द डिपार्टमेंट सो वेल। सबसे हमारी तो खुशकिस्मती है कि आपने हमारा मैम इनविटेशन एक्सेप्ट किया एंड अपना टाइम निकाला। थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
Hello. All the participants kindly switch on their camera so we can take a group photo. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Supriya, Jasmine, and Prabha ma'am. Thank you very much.